Hey, it's LSF here today, and today we're here to look at the Lexus USA and Canada sales. And in the United States, I do have the breakdown by model, so that gives you a little bit more insights of which models are hot and which models are not. So let's start off with the UX. So you can see here in the UX, we can see that 944, it's down 19.4, almost 0.5%. That's a lot. And it does look like the UX does need a refresh because they're not doing that well. So they're about 20% down for the first 5 months of the year compared to last year. So definitely the UX is not doing well at all. We move over to the IS, and then when you look at the IS, 1,793 for the month of May, not a good month compared to 2021 where they sold 1,000 more units. It's about 2.5% lowered, and for the year up to May right now, we're down 7.25% roughly. So again, the UX and IS seems to be a very old model already. They probably do need to do something to actually gain more sales and more momentum as well. And then when we look at the ES, and recently we looked at the trademark for the 350H and then the 350E and the 500E. So a refresh looks like it's in its works and still doing well. 4,000 units, so 4,015 units, and that's up 13% from last year, which is great. And when you look at it for the first 5 months of the year, they're up about 1%. So essentially they're flat. Now moving over to the NX. So NX has always been the second most selling model in the United States. 5,440. So that is down 12.8% from last year. But when you look at the numbers, it's not something that they should be worried about, because 5,400 models is actually not bad. But it just didn't get to the 6,400 in 2021 or the 6,200 last year. So it's down 12.78% for the month. But then when we look at the first 5 months, we're still looking at an increase of 2.75%. So the NX is still doing well, but definitely not to a point where we're seeing record sales month over month. Moving down, RX, 9,673 units. So that is down almost 10% from last year. But again, if you look at it, last year was like 2,000 more than 2022 and even previous years as well. So 9,600, not that bad. But when you look at it, it's down 4.5% for the first 5 months. So RX is getting a little bit sluggish. So is that because the new GX or the TX that's actually taking some sales from the RX? Are we going to see over 100,000 units? I think we will. I think 4.5% they can afford, and it will still see over 100,000 units this year. But we'll have to see the next few months because things can drastically change, right? Moving over, LS, 187 units. Again, it's always been a low selling volume car, but it's down 22% from last year. But still overall the year is 2.88%, so not bad at all. LC, another low volume car, 160 this month, and it's up 25%. But again, it's only up really 30 something units. But when you look at it overall this year, it's about 20%. Now moving to the GX. So if you look at the GX, the new model year has come out, but there has been rumors about a stop sale. But overall, when you look at May, 2,517 units is not bad. I think they probably have started to ship more GXs, and that's where you see the 13.58% increase from last year. But if you look at overall this year, it's still down 30%. So still a lot of ground to recover here. Going down to the LX last year was like a very good year. Like almost month after month, they broke records. Now we're at 508 this month. Only about less than 100 off from last year. So that's 16% decrease. But again, same thing. If we compare it to previous years, I think 508 is still not bad. And overall, it's down about 5% this year. So when you look at it, we're almost half the year. They probably will pass the 3,000 mark in June. So when you look at it, we probably won't beat the record, but we'll be close. I think it's still possible to see 6,000-ish units, which is still much better than the previous 5 years here that we see. RC, again, another low volume car, 201. That's up 40% from last year. But overall this year, it's actually okay, 17.5%. Not bad at all. TX. So TX, when we look at it, 4,992. That's the best month ever at this point. Because we don't compare it to last year because they don't sell it last year. But if you look at the numbers, 18,965, and you compare that to the RX and the NX, so NX is 27,000. So there are less than 9,000 units to the NX, which is quite significant, which does mean that the TX is doing extremely well. And it also means that they could actually there could be a fight between the NX and the TX to be which one will actually be the second best seller in the United States. Will it overcome the RX? A little bit hard, I would say. It still takes time, but we will have to see the next few months to see what is the potential for the TX. So when you look at the TX sold 4,992 this month. The MDX sold 6,322. However, when you look at the total year right now, 18,965, Acura has only sold 17,463 units, which means that the TX is outselling the MDX. But for the month of May, MDX has catched up a bit. But overall, it does look like the TX is taking some sales from the MDX for sure. So last but not least, we look at the RZ. 1,488, and that's up 300% compared to last year. So overall, they sold 4,449 right now, which is very close to what they sold last year. So in June, if they sell another 1,000-ish, they've already passed their sales of the RZ for last year, which was 2 months short, or probably 2.5 months short. But when you look at these numbers are actually not bad at all. Surprised that they actually can sell over 1,000. But when you look at these numbers, they're up 400% this year already. And if we looked at these numbers, I would say we could actually see over 10,000 units. So now we look at the total sales for Lexus in the United States. So you can see in May, it's 31,918 units. And if you look at since 2005, 2007 was actually very close to it. It didn't beat the 2007 record. And it was only a shy of 120 units or less than that. 118 units really. So it's actually not a bad month. And I think the TX is definitely what's helping, and the RZ was surprisingly helping as well, because the two of them add together is like 5,000-ish units.
Follow me on Instagram at LSFTvideos. You can see updates on my experience with the NX 450H Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos. You can reach out to me via direct messaging if you have any questions on your Lexus. If you like this video, you can provide me feedback in the comments below, like this video, share it with your friends. This definitely will help with the YouTube algorithms. Press the subscribe button and bell icon and get notified when new videos show up. And lastly, if you want to support me further, you can provide me a super thanks, or visit my Amazon storefront before you purchase anything from Amazon, or you can purchase products from the list on the items that I've been using with my vehicle or at home at no extra cost to you. And now let's continue with the video.
And that actually makes a big difference compared to like last year or the year before. So definitely 31,918 is not a small number. So if you look at compare this to last year, 17.3% increase for that month. And right now, year to date, we're looking at roughly a 13% increase. So when you look at here for the month of up to May, last year they sold 122,000. This year, 138,000. And then you look at the last 12 years, it never sold really that many, unless you look at 2015 where they were very close, and that's where they had the breaking year of 344,000. So when you look at this, Lexus still seems to be doing very well for the year at this point. So from a visual standpoint, since 2005, you can see that the month of May, it was quite high and it just didn't beat 2007 here. Overall, the numbers look fantastic. Then we look at sales for January to May, and when you look at this number, we can definitely see that it is really high on the top. When you look at 2024, 138,868, nowhere we have seen this. In 2007 and 2015 is where we actually saw these numbers to 132,000, and 2021 really 130,000. So numbers definitely look good, and you can see the drop of the pandemic and now the rise. So TX extremely well, doing very well, and really helping the sales for Lexus in the United States. And last but not least, Toyota Canada releases the May sales. So when we look at Canada, 23,670 vehicles for Toyota Canada, which includes Lexus and Toyota. And when you look at it, it's up 8.9%. But when you look at the Toyota division, it's up 13%. But look at Lexus. They sold 2,515 units, and that's down 16.6%. That's a significant drop. You can see that the electrified vehicles for Lexus is about 49.4%. So about 50% of the cars are electrified. So when you look for the Lexus division, the electrified vehicles, you're seeing a 49.4%. So almost half of the vehicles are hybrids, plug-in hybrids, or BEVs. And when you look at it, they sold 1,586 zero-emission vehicles, EVs, plug-in hybrids, or fuel cell EVs. And that's actually the Toyota and Lexus together. Unfortunately, they did not break down these numbers and models, and I couldn't find anywhere we can see places where they have these breakdown for every month. So unfortunately, we'll have to wait for those numbers to be published. So at this time, you can see Lexus Canada is not doing too well for the month of May. And why is that? So let's look at the sales numbers for Canada, and we can see here 2,515. But when you look at it, 2023 they sold 3,000. So 3,000 to 2024, 2,500, it's roughly 500 decrease. But then when you look at previous years, so when you look at 2022, 2,540, 2,352, and then when the pandemic started, they only sold 1,426. So overall, when you look at since 2018, they've been selling about 2,000-ish vehicles, and the exception was 2020. So my theory here is that last year's numbers were really an uptake on the weights. So there were people waiting for their hybrids and all that, and they started to be able to satisfy them. So with that, they actually got sales increase month over month. So you can see that 2023 was an extremely good year for Lexus Canada. You can see that the sales numbers really jumped like 6,000 units. But now I think 2024, we're starting to see it normalize. So you can see this number is very similar to 2022 and all the years that we had before. Last month, it was a decrease, but it was only by a little bit. March, you can see about 300 units. So we'll have to see June. If June numbers continue to be a decrease, then we definitely know that this is the trend that's happening. Another theory is that there is a high theft rate of Lexus vehicles in Canada, and that could be another reason why people have backed out, or they're looking at other brands as well. So that could also be another reason why these numbers have gone down. So when you look at here, 2018, 9,000, 7,000, 6,000, and then 9,800, 10,000, 13,000, and now we're at 11,000, almost 12,000. It's down, but I don't think it's right now something that we should be concerned about, but definitely something to be monitored to see how this will all shake out, because these numbers probably month after month will be a drop, but we'll have to see if new products come in. But the TX, I don't know if the TX is going to be like selling a lot or what it's going to be. At this point, I've seen a few TXs on the road, and I think it's a hot sale, but we don't know what will impact this, especially with high interest rates. If the interest rates do go down, maybe sales will get a little bit better as well. So there we have it, US and Canada sales.
I hope that you found that this video was informative, and until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.